Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Badli Hisam Adam, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Sri Lanka, His Excellency Ali Faiz, High Commissioner of Maldives to Sri Lanka, and His Excellency Ochan Paul, Ambassador of Kingdom of Thailand, Mr. Prasanna Srivastava, Justice of Peace of APR Support Center of Wasam, Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association, Attorney at Law, Ms. Janapith Fernando, Deputy Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka, the Major General Belinda Pires, Secretary of Sri Lanka Scout Council, Mr. Sadiq Amin, Madarachi, International Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association, Dr. Rajiv Pires, and Administrative Coordinator of the workshop,
Comes to my face, do my duty, my religion and country, will other people at all times, and obey the scout.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me invite Thank you very much, dancers of the Police Dancing Troupe of Sri Lanka Police. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the welcome address of Asia Pacific Regional Membership.
To live long. Welcome to Sri Lanka, my dear friends. Honorable M.U.A. Malisapri, President's Council, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Their Excellencies, the Ambassadors, Mr. Prasanna Sri Srivastava, Director of the Asia Pacific Regional Support Center of the World Dominant Scout Movement, resource persons from different nations, the Manager of Growth from the World Scout Bureau, Chief Commissioners, Deputy Chief Commissioner, National Program Commissioner, National Training Commissioner, Assistant Chief Commissioners, and my dear delegates from 15 countries. It gives me great pleasure this morning to welcome all of you to this Asia Pacific Regional Growth Summit, or the meet, which has been held in Sri Lanka. Firstly, may I extend a very warm welcome to our Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, M.U.A. Malisapri, President's Council, who is no stranger to the Sri Lankan community. Ms. Malisapri and I have known each other for almost 30 years. He is a gentleman who had a lucrative practice, and I would say one of the best legal practitioners in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. But he gave up this practice to serve the nation and become a member of the Parliament of Sri Lanka. And immediately upon becoming a member of Parliament, he was absorbed into the cabinet by the former president, and today he serves as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The young, energetic, honorable minister who always supports scouting. I had only sent a WhatsApp message requesting something, and he always obliges. One of the very rare ministers who I think read all the WhatsApp messages and reply all the WhatsApp messages. And next, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to welcome Honorable Minister M.U.A. Malisapri. I next welcome the Excellencies, the High Commissioners and the Ambassadors, very especially His Excellency Tariq Ariful Islam, High Commissioner for the People's Republic of Bangladesh, who has been a tower of strength to Sri Lanka Scout Association. Whenever we request any support from the Bangladesh High Commission Honorable Minister, Ambassador Tariq has always obliged, and we have done several projects in the past together as Scouts. Her Excellency Devi Gustina Tobing, we welcome you, Honorable Ambassador for the Republic of Indonesia. His Excellency Badri Hisham Adam, High Commissioner for Malaysia and Sri Lanka. Malaysia is a very important country for scouting, Your Excellency, because the world headquarters is situated in Malaysia, and many of us travel to Malaysia quite often, and we have had the honor and the privilege of being hosted by the Malaysian Scouts and also by the Malaysian authorities. I welcome you sincerely this morning. His Excellency Paul Janpol is no stranger to scouting. I think every one of you know him. The Ambassador to the Royal Kingdom of Thailand, a great friend of scouting who joins all scout events whenever we invite him. But we are sad to note that he's finishing his term in Sri Lanka and will be leaving soon. But I'm sure, like the former ambassador who was not a scout, got involved in Sri Lanka Scout Association activities when he was serving here. He's gone back to Thailand and now he's a commissioner in the National Scout Congress of Thailand because he started affiliations with Sri Lanka Scouting. So I'm sure Ambassador Paul Janpol will also go back to Thailand and join scouting there and support scouting in Thailand. Mr. Prasanna Sri Srivastava is no stranger to all of you. He's the course director, and this is his second visit to Sri Lanka, in fact, Honorable Minister, because we had another training for our leaders, and Mr. Prasanna was the nominee from the Asia Pacific region to run that course as well. My dear friends, why Sri Lanka was selected to host this meet is because of the growth recorded in Sri Lanka. In 2021, after the pandemic, our membership had dropped to 52,000. But by 2023, May, we have been able to raise it up to 100,000. And I'm very proud to announce today that as of yesterday, we have 115,441 members of the Sri Lanka Scout Association. The reason we have been selected is because they want to share our success story during this conference, and we will do it. One main reason is the support we receive from His Excellency the President, the Chief Scout, and the Government of Sri Lanka, and the Minister of Education, and also, of course, as I've mentioned before, all other ministries when they request any support. That is one reason. And also, the other reason, main reason being, the team, my team at the national headquarters, are committed, devoted, and work tirelessly in order to ensure that every child who wants to become a scout in this country, every parent who wants to make their child a scout in this country will get that opportunity. Unfortunately, Honorable Minister, we lack the leaders. The teachers don't have the time. Teachers are being transferred very often every 3-4 years. And therefore, some districts, this movement cannot continue. So that is one area His Excellency the President and the Minister of Education has to concentrate and help us and give us a solution. And other being, our scouting is based 95% on schools. And most teachers prefer to do private tuition and earn some extra money because they are not very well paid, as you know. So that is another challenge we face. But nevertheless, we have been able to overcome these challenges and be able to make a significant growth in the membership of Sri Lanka Scouting. My dear friends, out of the 57 million scouts around the world, in the 174 scouting countries or national scout organizations, you and I can be very proud that we at the Asia Pacific region account for 35 million scouts in our region. We can be very proud of the fact that we are contributing almost 75% of the world population of scouting. The World Organized Scout Movement, Honorable Minister, has carried out 2.7 billion man-hours of social service projects. We have carried out 16 million community service projects in the world. That is the impact we make to the world. Our aim is to create a better world, Honorable Minister. Our aim is to create better leaders who will be able to take over this country, not only our country, but all these countries. So once again, I welcome every one of you, very especially the delegates and the resource persons from Bangladesh, from Bhutan, from Cambodia, from Taiwan, from Fiji, from India, from Malaysia, from Maldives, from Nepal, from Pakistan, from Thailand, from Vietnam, and from Singapore and Macedonia. Thank you very much for being with us. You are most welcome to enjoy this summit, and also please enjoy the Sri Lankan hospitality, and on the educational tour you will be able to learn much about the Colombo city. I welcome all of you once again and wish you a very successful APR Growth Coordinators meet, and wish everyone all success. Thank you.
Of Foreign Affairs, Sri Lanka Government, Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association, Mr. Janpreet Fernando, the members of the Diplomatic Corps, the chairman of the Asia Pacific regional subcommittees and members of the subcommittees, the WASM consultant for growth, delegates from various National Scout organizations in the Asia Pacific region, my colleagues from the World Scout Bureau, and guests. Very good morning to all of you. It's a great privilege for me to assist Sri Lanka Scout Association in hosting this very important event. As mentioned by the Chief Commissioner Janpreet, we are having 14 National Scout organizations out of 30 member organizations in the Asia Pacific region over here, represented by their respective growth coordinators. Before I go on the meet introduction, I think it would be nice to introduce our members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Minister, and other guests here. As I think partly Janpreet has already covered on it, as a global level, in 174 countries, we have over 58 billion scouts, as we know. And out of that, in Asia Pacific region, in 30 member countries, we have about 36 million scouts. This is what is the reported data that we receive at the global and at the regional level. But this meet is particularly targeted on, is this what we want? Are we happy where we are? Have we achieved what we wanted to achieve? Is 36 million or 55 million, being the largest youth organization at the global level, is enough? I think this is what this particular group of people are going to discuss here. As we have talked about that Asia Pacific has this big number of scouts, but when we compare it to the available scouts, are we enough? Are we catering the needs? Is this the existence of the scout movement, whether at the global level, at the national level, regional level, or the local levels? I think this is where this meet is going to concentrate on. Is the mission of the movement achieved? Can we achieve with this simple numbers? Because if mission of the scout movement has to be achieved, we need to reach out to the last willing young person who wanted to be a scout. And I think Janpreet has already mentioned a few challenges that Sri Lanka is facing. And similarly, there are many other national organizations who are facing the challenge of the young people challenges, the needs our young people are changing as we are changing the world today. Are we catering to the needs, keeping the values of scouting, keeping the values of the societies in place? It may not be favorable to, if I would say that whatever we are facing at this moment in the world is scouting the answer. But I believe that many of you who would have read certain surveys, many of you would have heard many head of the countries, they do say that yes, scouting is the answer to all those challenges that young people are facing. The challenges differs from country to country. But yes, there are challenges which we cannot deny. And somebody has to address that. And then who is that somebody to come forward? And we believe Scouting is one of them. We don't claim that we are the only one, but we do claim that yes, Scouting is one option which can help young people to achieve what they wanted to achieve in their lives. The society, what kind of human beings they are expecting, and the country, the leaders they need. I believe this is what is important as of today. I will not go into details of values and Scout mission and vision. I'm sure that everybody has an idea about that. So this particular meet is going to address on these areas so that when these 14 countries delegates who have come here, when they go back, they can look at more analytically, more critically, and put in place the development that they wanted to make or they need to make within their organization. I think this is all about the meet. I would like to thank Mr. Janpreet Fernando and his team in Sri Lanka for accepting to host this event. On behalf of the Asia Pacific region, its committee, its members, I would like to thank all of you who are present over here for this particular meet to take back whatever transpires in these 4 days and let us work together to help in making a difference of young people in your respective countries. Thank you very much to the members of the Diplomatic Corps. I am sure that we will have continued support, whether you are in Sri Lanka or posted elsewhere. We do receive a lot of support from different embassies in different countries, and we hope that we will continue to receive that. I will not take much of time. I have a lot to talk with all of you, a lot to speak about it, but I think we still have a lot of time to go, and we will give times to others. I would also like to thank, before I end, to all the members or the chairmen of the 2 Asia Pacific subcommittees, the members of the subcommittees, the consultants who are here and spending time with us. So we have total of 14 participants and 8 overseas resource persons who are supporting. In addition to that, we have a big team from Sri Lanka Scout Association. Thank you to all the guests for being with us this morning, making it more memorable and more commendable, more motivating to all of us for next 4 days. And thank you to everyone for this great opportunity given to us. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now about to witness another beautiful traditional dance from Sri Lanka. Please join me in welcoming the dancing troupe of the Sri Lanka Police to grace the stage. invite of Democratic Social Republic of Sri Lanka to address our guests who are here today representing 15 countries of Asia Pacific region. Over to you, sir.
Your Excellencies, High Commissioners and the Ambassadors, the National Chief Commissioner, my friend Mr. Janapik Fernando, Attorney at Law, Director of the Asia Pacific Regional Office of the Scout Associations, senior members of the Scout Association, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, let me welcome those who have come from various parts of the world to Sri Lanka. You can see Sri Lanka is ready, open, and vibrant. A little stay here will prove that. Adversity and negativity travels very fast. Publicity in international television channels will only concentrate on negativity. Things changes. We have made great progress since last year, but very little is shown in the world. That's the sad part of it. So therefore, we welcome and thank the Asia Pacific Regional Office for organizing and choosing this, and congratulate the Sri Lankan office for coordinating it. Because all these endeavors make a massive difference in transforming our country and its image and its due place. So I'm sure you will enjoy your stay here and you will have a very good deliberation and brainstorming in way forward. Because the world is in need of people who are selfless. Selfless doesn't mean that you don't think about it, but you only don't think about yourself. You think beyond yourself, about your community, about your country, about your region, and about the globe. Your organization, I don't need to tell you, is in forefront in imparting those values. You would have seen some of those presentations. If you go through the last couple of years, you don't need to go so far. 2020 and 21, some of those images in that video presentation shows what a terrible time the whole world had. So the humanity needs resilience. That resilience comes through hard work, training, friendship, and also through volunteer service to the humankind. So your organization in that plays a great role. We had an extra difficult time. In 2019, we had a terrible Easter Sunday bombing. We were just about to recover. We had this terrible 2020 and 2021, the COVID pandemic. Sri Lanka was disproportionately affected by it because we rely almost 1/3 of it on tourism for our foreign currency. So we used to earn in 2018 4.4 billion out of tourism. So so take that and it becomes $200 million. So you lose about 12 billion in 3 years, and that's a massive amount of money for a country like Sri Lanka. With that comes, unfortunately, the conflict in Russia and Ukraine. Prices have skyrocketed. Small countries like us, very difficult to meet those challenges. So therefore, world is one. All these things teach us a very important lessons. Until everyone is safe, no one is safe. We thought some of the Western countries at the beginning, I have nothing against them, thought that you invent the most modern pandemic vaccines and quickly vaccinate your population, that's the end of it. What happens? A new variation comes. Thereafter what happens? Another variation comes. So therefore, until everybody is safe, no one is safe. As our president once pointed out, when the big powers fight, when the elephants fight, it is the grass get trampled. So conflict is somewhere. We know the effect of it. The coal prices, which was 75, went up to 400. So we are relying 35% of our electricity on coal. The fertilizer prices, which was $115 went up to $800. Not one time, two times. Average prices of petroleum, which was about 48, 50, maximum 60, went up to 115. So how can a country like Sri Lanka and smaller countries face this? So we had a combination of effect, a legacy of popular policies without looking at the realistic issues. And when it comes with the external shocks, we couldn't stand. But I am glad, compared to what it was last year, we have made a big difference. In making that big difference, it is the Sri Lankan public who stood together and worked hard. It is they who have chosen, some have chosen, unfortunately, the permanent migration. I don't think it's the right thing when your country is in difficult situation. But most of our people are impermanently, temporary migration, gone out of the country, working hard, sending the money back to the country. Tourism has started to come back. And our people have seen the resilience even during the pandemic to continue to have that export growth. So therefore, Sri Lanka is back. And I'm sure a resilient nation like Sri Lanka must learn and learn fast from the past mistake, not to repeat those in many fields. So in that sense, I thought it's important, your organization, the kind of work what you do in order to bring people together, just to show that the humanity is bigger than anything else, particularly a country like Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, after 75 years, still cannot bring that national unity and a single identity of the Sri Lankan into fore. We're still talking about Sri Lankan Buddhists, Sri Lankan Sinhalese, Sri Lankan Muslims, Sri Lankan Tamils. This is a shame. One of the biggest reasons for that is we have a schooling system which has Sinhala school for Sinhalese, Muslim school for Muslim, Catholic school for Catholic, Tamil school for Tamils, and this polarizes it. And you put them into classes at grade when they are 6 years and keep them in that way for 18 years. And they want them to be transformed in 19 years. Will that happen? Will never happen. So it is in that kind of situation an organization like you can play a massive role. Bring in these different and diverse groups of Sri Lankans put together in a Sri Lankan context. I'm sure it is for the regional context and the global context also. And think beyond this narrow lines and think bigger for the whole country. In the Sri Lankan context, until Sri Lanka stand up, if you think that your community will only stand up, you are in a pipe dream. It won't happen. You can have solutions which cater to a particular section of the community, or particular section of the community, or race or religion. It has to be a solution which embraces the entirety of the Sri Lankans, entirety of the region, entirety of the world ultimately. So therefore, I'm not going to take much of your time, but let me also tell you one thing. We have so many people who are qualified. But what's the point of qualification if there is no application? What's the point of you have application, but only about yourself, not about the community or the country? So it is in that context, I think, you'd have seen, I'm sure, one of the world's leading universities did a research recently and found out what defined your success amongst 20,000, 25,000 lawyers in the country. We have about 300-400 lawyers who are very well known. But entry qualification is the same. Everybody has to be an attorney at law. What makes that difference? Only 15% is the entry qualification. That's your necessary skills to pass as attorney at law, for example. Beyond that is about coordination, your PR skill, other skills that you have built, networking. So that is what you are doing. So I must congratulate. the difficult circumstances. So Fernando and his predecessors and the current group of senior people. I know it's not easy, but even given that very difficult situation, you continue to do good work. I'm sure we will improve on this and build better leaders, leaders who can take the challenges in future in the country, in the region, and ultimately in the world. So all the very best. Learn from your deliberations and do better and continue to do and contribute towards building a better world for all of us. Thank you very much.
In wrapping up today's inaugural proceedings, I have the pleasure of inviting Attorney at Law and the National Headquarters Commission of Growth, Ms. Samith Jayasekara, who is the Workshop Director of Asia Pacific Regional Membership Growth Coordinators Meet. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Ali Sabri, President Council and Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Tariq Arif Islam, High Commissioner of the Republic of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Tobilin, Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Badli Adam, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Sri Lanka, His Excellency Poj Hampol, Ambassador of Kingdom of Thailand, Mr. Prashanna Sivastra, Director Organization Development and the backbone of this program, and also I'm addressing to former Chief Commissioner Major General Milinda Piris, Chief Commissioner Janaprit Fernando, Deputy Chief Commissioner, Program Commissioner, National Commissioner, and all senior members of Sri Lanka Scout Association. Then APR consultant team who came to help us. Then my dear fellow growth coordinators of Asia Pacific regions, ladies and gentlemen. Sri Lanka, that as our Honorable Foreign Minister said, that we faced many challenges during last few years, and still we are facing those challenges and we are in the recovering period. However, whatever happened during this period, the Sri Lanka Scouts slowly growth. Say during last few years, if you compare in 2019, our census was around 71,350. Then it came down to between 50 to 60,000 during 2021 period. That, however, with the guidance of our Chief Commissioner, so we managed to increase our scout population. Up to now, it's around 115,000. Then while, say when Asia Pacific region deciding that where to have this year membership growth summit, they decided to have it in Sri Lanka, and they identify Sri Lanka as a growth model. I'm thanking very much to everyone who helped and who contributed to this task, all commissioners, to our scout masters and everyone in Sri Lanka Scout Association. And I got a message also that Honorable Minister has to leave by 10:30. Then I am not taking much time